to the Asking Us SEO Show, episode number 22. And today we're going to talk about what do we recommend your digital team to look like. Boom. Alright guys, so hopefully this video won't be too long. We don't really need to go into too much detail, but we do get the question, so it's worth just sort of mentioning and talking about, because you know there's many ways to get results. We're not saying that this is the only way to get results, but probably over the last 11 years we have found companies that sort of specialized and had their own teams for different things, and targeted companies that were more dedicated and specific, generally, not always, but generally got better results. And so in this episode, what I'm going to talk about is just trying to cut through some myths as well, and also talk about how the different teams can also work together, and so if you do have something similar already, or you're thinking about doing something that's going to be similar to the model that I'm going to talk to you about, at least you know exactly potentially which teams need to talk to others more, and so forth. So first of all, let's cut through the biggest myth that we get. Number one myth is, if we don't do it all under the one roof, meaning if we don't have the same company doing all of it, what does that actually mean for us? And what does that mean for us if we have to do it with 5 or 6 different companies as opposed to doing it with one company? And the other myth is, oh, what about the conflict? Isn't there going to be conflicts if we don't do it all under one roof? So let me first espouse the first myth. Number one, I don't believe that it's any different than having one roof, one company to do all of it, or you have separate companies. What do I mean by that? Because even if you have one company that's handling your SEO, social media, the paid, the UX, your website dev IT, your email marketing, and your PR, right? There's like a whole lot there. You still got to email, even within the same company, you're still emailing Jerry, Bob, Sarah, Jacqueline, Robert, and Annabelle, right? You still got to email them. The only difference is that you're emailing with the same domain extension. So, you know, Annabelle at prcompany.com, right? And Chris at prcompany.com. So we'll just leave that in there. No, we'll leave that in there. I like it. So it doesn't matter. So if you have, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you have 6 different companies, you're still emailing 6 different people, just with different domain extensions. That's it. You got the PR company, you got Amiga Digital. So what I did there, you like it, eh? Then, you know, the PPC company, UX, and so forth. So it's not that it's going to save that much time in terms of majority of your correspondence. But yeah, sure, maybe when you have sort of meetings that you might have to sort of, it's going to get a little bit more complicated, a little bit, but I think that's worth it. And the other myth is, isn't it going to be conflicts if we don't have it all under the same team, under the same company in the same team? Well, that really comes down to the maturity of the team and their ability to not get defensive, and the ability for them to work together for your success. Because you've got to keep in mind, this is what I believe will get you the best success. So if your SEO team isn't willing to work with your email, or your website doesn't want to work with this person, then you've got to think about what's a greater good for the business. And the majority of people in the marketing, from my experience with marketers across the entire marketing spectrum, the majority of us that I've found are really cool people. So I don't think it's going to be that much of an issue that you may think it is. And again, I want to reiterate, this is what I believe is the best for your business. And so let me spend some time on exactly what each of these departments are going to do and how they talk together, and why I put some of them even under the same umbrella. So number one, let's start with the SEO and social media. The reason why we started doing social media and focusing on social media and SEO is I believe the relationship between the two is a lot more closely related than I think what most people realize. And I think for SEO and for social media, what is the number one underlying strategy? Content. Okay, so it makes sense. Content marketing and producing videos. Like, for example, I even gave the strategy once about why I think it's a good idea to have, like, you have your YouTube video, let's say, you know, I'm looking at an Evian water box now. So let's look, I love the water. So Evian wants to do a video on why their water is more superior than the others. Well, you're going to have an article, a text article, a blog article, which is going to help your SEO. And also you're going to have a video on YouTube talking about the same thing. And so when you merge the two together, so you have your YouTube video then embedded into your blog article, well, you got three ways to get more visibility. One, because you're creating content on YouTube, you're going to get found on YouTube. You're creating more blog content, you're going to get more visibility through the traditional Google and Bing search. But also, even Google actually shows video searches even within the standard normal Google results. So you've got the text link, you've got the video link, and you've got your YouTube. So you've got three possible ways: the video within Google search, the standard text article, and obviously YouTube itself if someone's directly going through YouTube. So twice through Google search and one time through Google video, YouTube. I used to call it Google video. They don't use that anymore. And so the reason why we've combined SEO and social media is because we believe social media, first of all, is so important for every business today, but even more importantly, how they sort of cross over from our understanding and how we apply it, it makes sense to keep SEO and social media more or less together. Now, you could have it separate. You could have a seventh team if you wanted to do your social media. But the way in which we do it, this probably model works. To have SEO and social, again, primarily for content. Paid ads. Now, with the paid ads and the biddable media, generally the companies that we've come across that seem to be sort of the best agencies in Google AdWords are those that really just focus on Google AdWords. I mean, they just want the Google, all they want to do is AdWords, and they're obsessed with AdWords. And so all their resources, their time, their effort goes into understanding biddable media, and their entire agency is dedicated to that. And obviously all the clients that they work with are all AdWords clients. And I think that's a really important point for pretty much all of them, but keep that in mind. And obviously Google and Bing paid search, there's a lot to do now. And the reason why this becomes even quite important now is because there's so much more companies now using AdWords and using Bing words and, you know, targeting a lot more paid advertising and pay-per-click advertising. It's becoming so competitive now on the paid search side of things that having a dedicated resource to keep your cost per click down, your cost per lead down, and obviously the conversion rate high, I think it takes a dedicated team, from our opinion. Next would be the UX and the UI. Now, from the majority of people I've spoken to with the UX and UI, that's all they do. And so my experience with UX and UI, it's so detailed. User experience, user interactiveness, how people sort of, and obviously I'm going to talk about even the relationships, right? So this is your biz and this is, so it branches off. The UX and UI is quite an advanced team to have. They're very advanced, very expensive, because they go through so much detail. Some of the best UX colleagues that we have clients that have like the Australian government, and really working with big corps to sort of understand how users interact with the website, and so therefore all of their the user interactiveness is then based upon the research that they do with user experience. And it's a really incredibly in-depth process that I can't see how you could not have a dedicated team for that. But it is like some of my clients, I may help with the basics of it. And when I say basics, it's still more, it's still somewhat, advanced, but compared to perhaps the dedicated teams, we just don't do that. It's just not really our thing. But I believe that having this team, especially with your big sites that you're getting, over 10, 15, 20,000 people, all UX and UI is important at some level. But when you start dealing with websites that have large volumes of people, this just becomes from very important to extremely important, and getting the most out of your customers and your potential customers and their experience and how they interact with the elements on the website. It's absolutely vital, but it is quite an expensive and detailed and service, but one that I highly recommend that you do, and you have your own dedicated team. Website dev and IT. Again, like most, if you speak to the devs that we have, they are very dev, right? They're just super technical. You just tell us you want A, B, C, D done, we do it. Okay. I think having a developer that is super in depth and focuses just on dev, like think about it, with web dev, and to get a really specialized team, there's already enough to learn. Web technologies, and I got my diploma in the end of 2006, and even back then, like you would do your certificates before. And then like next year, like even the stuff that you were learning the year before, instead of just be like, that was so last year, right? So the dev and the IT people, you got to try to find your own little Zuckerberg to sort of help you, and just be detailed and just focus purely on the web tech, because technologies evolve probably faster than most industries in terms of, there's a new technology for this, there's a new framework for that. What can we do with CSS, and the evolutions of the front end dev, and even within website dev, you've obviously got your highly technical back end devs that focus all just on the zeros and ones, right? And then you've got the front end devs that got to code in from the designers how it's all going to like look on the front end. And even now within dev, it's sort of split into two specialties, front and back end developers. So to have a team that's just dedicated to your web development, I think it's absolutely, and your whole technical team, it's so important. And I think that it's for 2018, 2019. I mean, how can you not have a specialized, targeted IT team? Now let's go up to the two fun ones. There's PR, there's email, and there's also video, like video editors. Like there's so many even ones that like branch off again as well. But anyway, video editors make sense. You want to produce large amounts of video. You want to get the video nerds to sort of focus just on that to help you create, great videos for your business. Emails and EDMs. Email now, I believe, largely is probably on its way out, I think, over the next 5 years. But there's still many businesses that use it, and ones that are using it, I would never say get rid of it, even if the open rates aren't like what they used to be. If you've got an email EDM team, it's great, keep with them. I'm actually, even though I don't have too strong feelings or opinions towards email, I still recommending clients to do it if they're not, just to make sure over the next few years you've just covered all your bases. And sometimes email is a good way to, when you are replying when you want to keep in contact with your customer base, all of your content marketing, your PR, and any new functionality added to the website. It's a good sort of email perhaps to merge everything that you're doing together, your latest posts, did you see this on social media, blah, 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 in an email and an EDM and fire it off. So I definitely still think it's worth mentioning. It's obviously good to have a team that can obviously specialize in MailChimp and other tools and things like that to sort of bring all your assets together and send it off. It's just good. People that obviously have focused on email for a long time, they're going to be able to do it for you very, very well. And then you also have marketing automation, which is a different video, and your PR team. The PR team is probably not many clients have it on our end. Usually their PR team is a combination of a few of those, but it's great if you do have a PR team or you are running something special. Like our client ran the Bachelor, provided the ring on the Bachelor this year and last year, and the PR team really did help us a lot to acquire new partnerships and to help and aid with the SEO. And so, if you think that I think the PR team is great. It's great when you have sort of something really special like that to handle. Like for us to handle that sort of media publicity and all the rest of it. It's great to have someone that's actually professional, that's actually got that experience in handling with that sort of side of things. And to be honest with you, they definitely did show that they were very actually useful to the SEO side of things. So your biz will be talking to all these different people. Now, within them, a lot of the time, the SEO, the paid, the UX are going to be contacting the devs. And so their relationship is obviously going to be quite important. The UX, the AdWords, SEO, social media, because a lot of technical new functionality and sort of to get all the technical implementation done. And guys, I've actually forgotten. I'm just thinking of even like other things to add, like that I didn't even have time for. But this is just, and I don't want to go on, but this is just a basic model that I think works at the least. Now, if you want to get more specific, you want to, you can get even more specific than this. You can even have teams cutting off into social ads, paid ads. It just goes on and on. But really what I wanted to sort of crunch down is that having different teams and specialties isn't as bad as you may think. Them communicating isn't as stressful as you may think. And even the myth about, it's going to save time, it doesn't really. And even if it does save a bit of time, I think having dedicated specialists, the benefit your business is going to get out of that makes up for it. So thanks a lot, guys. If you've got any questions on that, please let me know in the comment box below. And I look forward to speaking with you in the next video. Have a great day.